Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. Today we're discussing one of the rarest Rolex references of the last decade. It's the Rolex Oyster Perpetual Day-Date II, reference 218206 in platinum. You can see and you can purchase this platinum Day-Date II on our website. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos, and please click on the card in the upper right hand corner of the screen at any time during this video to see our full sales listing for this watch with additional accessories included in the sale, high-resolution images for your desktop, and naturally, complete pricing details for this Rolex Day-Date II in full platinum. Now, debuted at Baselworld 2008 in the form you see here, and discontinued after the 2015 model year, the Day-Date II was Rolex's first take at a larger Day-Date. Now, the Day-Date 40 that followed was smaller in every respect, and for some, dialing back the intensity would be desirable. But if you want the big president, and I mean the really big president, in full platinum, they don't get any more massive or imposing than the 218206 on my wrist. So you can see the watch looks the business, and I can tell you in full platinum it feels it too. 41 millimeters across the round of the case. That's not inclusive of the crown. The watch is relatively slim. It's not a bully to your shirt cuff, as it's only 12.1 millimeters thick, and you'll note that the distinctive platinum conical bezel allows any sleeve to slide up and over the case. Now, from lug to lug, and we're going to measure it here between solid end link to solid end link, because literally no one is going to put this on a rubber B strap or an Everest. The distance across the wrist is a robust 53.3 millimeters. Now, you'll also note that the watch has the President bracelet, which is iconic of the Rolex Day-Date. Quick historical footnote, it's the ownership history of the Day-Date model line that has lent it the nickname President. The watch, properly speaking, has never been called the President, even though it's been worn by many U.S. presidents, foreign presidents, and, well, let's just call them presidents for life in other regimes. But the bracelet is properly called the President. The three-link design, which debuted in 1956, is somewhere between the Rolex Jubilee and the Oyster in its feel and its aesthetic. It has the small longitudinal link length of the Jubilee, but it also has only 3 links horizontally. So it has the solidity of the 3-link Oyster, but it also has the flexibility and the silken feel on the wrist of the small link Jubilee. Now, you will note that it's finished in a handsome fashion with polished outer flanks, shoulders in satin, polished down the center. What you can't see is that this bracelet was a little bit of a proof of concept for Rolex. On the Platinum Day-Date II, and only on the Platinum Day-Date II, the pins in between the links that actually join the bracelet together are ceramic coated. The idea being, historically, Rolex bracelet stretch wasn't caused by physical elastic stretch of the metal, but rather the wearing down and thinning of the pins that joined the links together. The result was that the bracelets would start to move around more, the tolerances would loosen up, and you'd get that sensation of a stretched bracelet. Well, with the ceramic coated pins, which will not wear down as they aggress against metal, you will no longer have that bracelet stretch. You will no longer have that free play developing with time. That was pioneered only on the Platinum Day-Date II. Now on the Day-Date 40, all bracelets have it, but in this generation, the first and the only, you're looking at it. The crown clasp is beautifully made. As you can see, a combination of blasted and polish. It's nicely executed. The crown clasp indicating the partition point of the bracelet with the 5-point coronet and no other cue. Now, in this generation of bracelet, we see that it does feature a little bit of a hinged component. It is actually a switch to lock or unlock the clasp. It's no longer just a shim to yank it open. Sophistication throughout, even in the small details. The bracelet is incredibly handsome and melds with the case as though they were one organic component. The tandem, the only way, quite honestly, you'd want a Day-Date, as it doesn't quite look right on a strap. Absent the President bracelet, the watch loses a little bit of its dignity. This one, though, fully intact and physically massive. The watch feels, eyes closed, like a 44mm Royal Oak offshore on a full bracelet. You'll also note that the case, though physically imposing, is nicely contoured. It's not a super case. It's not the overly sheer flank, squared off lug design that you see on the GMT, the Sea Dwellers, and the Submariner. It's actually closer in its actual profile and contouring as well as lug design to something like a giant Daytona, or appropriately, a dramatically scaled up Datejust 36. The bezel is not the fluted unit we're used to seeing on Day-Dates because it is not gold. The fluted bezel always means white, rose, or yellow gold with Rolex. Here we're dealing with the king of metals, platinum, and thus we have the conical polished profile. The dial is Rolex's signature glacier blue. Reserved for the platinum models, it is spectacular. It has a sunburst texture that radiates out from the center, so the way it catches and plays with the light is explosive. It's dynamic in my light box, but this light is soft and diffused. Take it outdoors, it is quite literally a volatile substance that will explode at a moment's notice in the rays of the sun. The Roman numerals are diamond polished white gold, as are the hands at center and the 5-point Rolex coronet, completely tarnish and corrosion resistant. And for good measure, there's a evocative railroad-style minutes and seconds track outboard. You'll note that, as with the other Day-Dates, breaking up the text of a Rolex dial works well to balance the dial and reduce the sense that you're reading some sort of legal tract or James Joyce novel. It does make the dial look less cluttered than the block of lines of text you'll see on a Submariner or a Daytona. Now, the apertures for the day and the date are stepped, so there's a transitional surface between the plane of the dial and the plane of the disc. There's an elegance about that because of the step. You'll also note that, though you can't see it, the caliber 3156 features a double quickset mechanism so that you can rapidly correct both the day and the date, should you need to. Pull the crown to extremity, you can hack or stop the balance and halt the movement. If you put the crown in its intermediate position, you can actuate the quickset functionality, so you can cycle the date, and then by turning in the opposite direction, you can cycle the day. Now, the movement features Rolex's Paraflex proprietary shock protection system with a free sprung balance using Rolex's Micro Stella adjustment nuts with a full balance bridge anchored on both sides of the balance. Those three features make the watch very shock and vibration resistant. It's also 100 meters water resistant thanks to the screw down crown and the screwed in solid platinum case back, so it is a bit of a sports watch, though the dial is not luminescent. It has immense water resistance as well as physical toughness about its movement. Now, it beats away at 28,800 vibrations per hour automatic winding, about a 48-hour power reserve when fully energized. It is a COSC certified Swiss chronometer, and even prior to the superlative chronometer standard, Rolex made a practice, and a uniform practice, of taking its chronometer certified movements, casing them up, and then ensuring as fully cased watches that they continue to meet the COSC timing standards, and that is not universal in the industry. Many brands will get the COSC certificate and then effectively throw it out by casing up the movement and not regulating it again as a fully cased watch. Now, there's more going on too, because Rolex uses its Parachrome Blue anti-magnetic alloy to make the hairspring that makes the watch resistant to magnetism. But the alloy is combined with a Breguet overcoil hairspring profile to the hairspring itself that helps the watch to ensure concentric beating of the hairspring in any orientation with respect to gravity, and that helps when the watch is being tested against the multiple positions of a chronometer test or enduring daily life on your wrist, so better precision regardless of the position of the watch. Finally, Rolex makes its own cases, bracelets, clasps, dials, and movements, so everything from the alloy that's used in the material to the materials themselves to the movement and the dial, fabricated and designed, executed entirely in-house at Rolex in Geneva, and also at Rolex's movement manufacturer in Biel-Bienne. All Rolex and 41 millimeters of it. You can see this platinum Day-Date II and make it yours on our website.